So we go to the second type of this third method of classifying chemical reactions. Again, my same question. Don't get. I hope you have not got fed up of asking the same question. See, the question is the same, but the reactions are different, and the types of reaction different. Find out what is common to the reactions given below. So, calcium carbonate, the first reaction, calcium carbonate on heating gives you calcium oxide plus carbon dioxide. And the second reaction, potassium nitrate, when you mix in water, you get potassium, aqueous solution of potassium nitrate. So what do you see in both these reactions? I know most of you have got the answer. What do you see is, you see that heat is where is the heat written in these two reactions? It is written on the reactant side. Reactant side matlab, it, in other words, heat is supplied or heat is absorbed. So in the first reaction, if we see, we we supplied heat to calcium carbonate, and when calcium carbonate was heated, it decomposed or broke down into calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. Second reaction, potassium nitrate plus water. When you mix potassium nitrate, you took potassium nitrate in a test tube and you put water in that and you shook the test tube, you will see that the test tube becomes cold. Why cold? Because heat is absorbed. So whenever heat is supplied to a reaction or heat is absorbed during a reaction, we call such reactions as endothermic reaction. Endo means inside. Remember I told you endoskeleton, we have an endoskeleton because our skeleton cannot be seen on the outside. Whereas cockroaches and all, they have an exoskeleton, skeleton on the outside. Okay, so all these are endothermic reactions. So how will you define an endothermic reaction? A chemical reaction during which heat is absorbed from the surroundings, okay, or heat has to be supplied continuously from outside is called an endothermic reaction. So any reaction where heat is absorbed or heat is supplied, okay. Okay, only when you supply heat will the reaction absorb the heat. No, it's like that. It's common sense. We call it an endothermic reaction. Let's see a day-to-day example of this. Dissolution of urea in water. When you dissolve urea in water, dissolution means dissolving urea in water is an example of a endothermic reaction. So whenever you take urea and you mix it in water, you will find that the water becomes cold. Why? Because heat is absorbed. So with this we finish all the three methods of classifying reactions. So I'll just brush it up once again. The first method, what did we learn? The first method of classification, what are the four types? Combination, decomposition and combination, decomposition, displacement and double displacement. Second method of classification we learned oxidation, reduction and redox. Third method of classification, what are the two types? This one just now we did, that is exothermic and endothermic. I hope this is all clear. The different ways of the three different methods of classifying chemical reactions. Okay. So we now move on to the next module of the lesson. The next module, that is the rate of a chemical reaction. Rate means speed. In simple words, rate means speed. Speed of a chemical reactions. So let's see what are the various factors that affect the rate of a chemical reaction. So the factors affecting the rate or speed of a chemical reaction are as follows. There are five factors. First is the nature of the reactants. We'll be learning each of these in detail, don't worry. Second one is the size of the reactant particle. Third one is the concentration of the reactants. Fourth, temperature of the reactants. And the fifth one, catalyst. So these five things can affect the speed of a chemical reaction. That means it can increase or decrease the speed or rate of a chemical reaction. So let's learn each of these in detail. The first factor, nature of the reactants. Now the nature or the reactivity of the reactants influences the rate of a chemical reaction. So obviously it's obvious, like what I mean to say is, let me tell you in simple words. If the elements, if I take a highly reactive element, it will react faster. If I take a lesser reactive element, it will react very slowly. No, simple. So if a highly if the reactor if element of the substance highly reactive, it will react faster and the speed of the reaction will be higher. And if the substance it has got a low reactivity, then the speed will be very less. The reaction will take longer time to go. For example, aluminum metal reacts faster than zinc metal with dilute hydrochloric acid to release hydrogen gas. Now, if you take two test tubes, say in one test tube you take aluminum metal and hydrochloric acid, and in the other test tube you take zinc metal and hydrochloric acid. So, in which test tube the reaction will take faster? In the first one, because aluminum reacts faster with HCl, hydrochloric acid, whereas zinc reacts very slowly. So, the first test tube you will find a hydrogen gas bubbles coming out faster. In the second test tube, where you put zinc metal and hydrochloric, there you will find that the hydrogen gas bubbles are coming out very slowly. Yes, I hope it's clear, boys. So we'll learn more about the reactivity of metals in chapter 8 on metallurgy. You have chapter number 8, right, in this science part 1. There you learn little more in detail. You learn about the reactivity series and all. Okay. So as of now we'll stop here. We'll proceed with that to the next factor. The second factor, size of the reactant particles. So size of the reactant particles, how does it affect the chemical speed of a chemical reaction? Let's see. So the rate of a chemical reaction depends upon the size of the particles of the reactants. Smaller the size of the reactant particles, higher is the rate of the reaction and vice versa. That means the inverse relationship. If you take small size particles, reactant particles, the speed will be higher. If I take big size reactant particles, the speed of the reaction will be slow, or it will take at a lower rate. Yeah, so ulta pulta. Huh? Smaller the size, faster is the reaction, and greater the size, lower is the rate of the reaction. For example, if you take powdered calcium carbonate reacts faster than pieces of calcium carbonate. That is, calcium carbonate nothing but a Shahabad tile, no? What you call marble and limestone. There are different names. With dilute hydrochloric acid to release carbon dioxide gas. That means one test tube if you take powdered calcium carbonate and dilute HCl, another test tube you take pieces of calcium carbonate and dilute HCl. If you see the first test tube, the reaction will take faster because powdered calcium carbonate will react very fast with dilute HCl. Why? Because the powder calcium carbonate has got small size. It is fine size, finely grounded, no powdered. In the second test tube where you took the big pieces of calcium carbonate and HCl, the reaction will take place very slowly. That means carbon dioxide gas bubbles will come out very slowly. In the first one, it will come out very quickly. I hope this is clear. So let's move on to the next one. So we go on to the third factor which affects the speed of a chemical reaction, that is concentration of the reactants. So the rate of a chemical reaction depends upon the concentration of the reactants. Greater the concentration of the reactants, higher is the rate of the reaction, or higher is the speed of the reaction, and vice versa. So in other words, if the reactants are very concentrated, obviously the chemical reaction will happen very quickly. The concentration is strong of the reactants. If the reactants are dilute, then what will happen? The reaction will take place very slowly. So the more the concentration, more will be the speed of the chemical reaction. I hope this is clear. And lesser the concentration, like if it is dilute, it will take place slowly. Let's see one example. For example, calcium carbonate reacts faster with concentrated hydrochloric acid than with dilute HCl to liberate carbon dioxide gas. So if you take powder calcium carbonate in two test tubes, both test tubes you take same thing, powdered calcium carbonate, and in one test tube you put concentrated HCl, other test tube you put dilute HCl. So where will the reaction happen faster? Obviously in the first test tube, because you added concentrated HCl, strong HCl. In the second test, so there in the first test tube, the carbon dioxide gas will come out very quickly. In the second test tube, where you add a dilute HCl, the carbon dioxide gas will also come out there, but come out very slowly. So I hope this is clear. The third factor. Let's proceed.